guys, it's Casey Arndt and I'm here again on Wednesday and I've got some swimming tips for you again. So last week, if you joined us, you heard all about this really killer 6x200 set that I was talking about, that I was telling you is going to really be able to revolutionize the way that you swim. And I got some really great feedback on that video, and some people said, yeah, I really want to do it, and some people thought, yeah, I really don't want to do that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some troubleshooting that you can do if you did do it, and if you were thinking, wow, that does not sound like it's for me at all, what might be some things that are standing in your way that can kind of gradually move you toward feeling like you can do a set like that. So first, I just want to give a shout out to this really cool t-shirt shop that I found in San Francisco at Christmas time that had some really amazing bike t-shirts, so you can see Darth Vader riding there in this like triple bike, quadruple bike. Anyway, kind of a fun shirt, so I wanted to wear it for you guys. So last week we talked about swimming 6 200s on 30 seconds rest and doing them as hard as you can while still remaining just slightly aerobic and sticking to that rest interval. So why would you want to do this? There are a couple of reasons. One, it's really going to kill your muscular endurance in the pool. And I think a lot of people, on the bike, you go out and you just ride on a weekend, you kind of got that endurance, but there's not necessarily muscular endurance there. And a lot of people fall into that same sort of pattern with their swimming, where they just want to know that they can finish the distance. And so they do a lot of kind of long, slow, continuous swimming once they have the conditioning to actually do that. Some of you guys are still trying to get to where you can do 50s and 75s and 100s without taking a long break at the wall. So that endurance needs to come first. But once you have the endurance to do the distance of your event, you can really start to step it up and swim it well and get some muscular endurance. And just because you have great muscular endurance for the run or for the bike, it doesn't necessarily translate to the water, which I know can be really frustrating for those of you who've been runners forever and you get in the water and you just feel tired all the time. So be patient with it. This is a great set to get started. So I want you to give me a thumbs up if you watched last week and you know what the heck I'm talking about. And then if you did do the set, let me know. I didn't get a lot of comments back from people who did do it. I had one guy who did 5 300s, which was super awesome. It was great to see his data, and I would love to see how things came out for you. And I also want to hear if you didn't do it, but you intended to, or there was something that was standing in your way, because that's what I want to talk about, is how did it come out if you did do it, and what might be some of the reasons why you weren't motivated to try this set, or maybe it was just a bad week and you're going to try it this week. Not a big deal. So let's talk about that. So I want to start with the troubleshooting. First of all, there's this thing that a lot of you guys wear on your arm called a Garmin, and it has a lot of really great swimming functions. And really the only thing you need there is you need to know how long you were swimming and how long were you resting. So you need to know how to take intervals with your watch, and you're going to be hitting the back button, which is also the lap button, regardless of whether you're using a 910 or a 920 or any other kind of watch. Just figure out how to manually take intervals. Hey, thanks for watching, Dana. If you're on the replay, I would love for you to ring in and just tell me that you're watching too. Hey, so if you collected the data on your Garmin, then you can go to Garmin Connect, or if it uploads to Strava or Training Peaks or something like that, or you even just write on your watch. You can look and you can write down, okay, I did 6 200s. These were the 6 times that I got for my 200s. Did I stick to the 30 seconds rest, or did it kind of morph into 35, 38, 40 seconds rest? Those are things you want to know. If you're finding that you're taking longer and longer rest times, the interval times become less and less relevant, because if you're taking long rest, you can actually swim faster than you can swim aerobically, and we don't want to do that. So that's why they're purposely short, and over time should get a little shorter to make sure that you're staying below your red line, basically. So you're staying aerobic, but just barely. So those rest times are important too, so you want to see those data. That might be hard to see on your watch, but you can definitely see it in Training Peaks, which is usually where I'm looking at people's data from their swims. So there's a couple things that you might have noticed if you did this last week. I was looking at my data, I was looking at a few clients who were doing similar sets, and these were things I was looking for. Was the first interval way too fast? Like if you just looked at the 6 times, did you see like a super fast one and then maybe a really slow one for the second one, you're kind of recovering, and then the next 4 were kind of the same? I think that's kind of typical when you're developing your sense of pacing. And so you want to look for that first interval being too fast, because it will tend to lower the average that you can keep for the rest of the intervals if you start off really fast. And this is something that's going to repeat itself in your cycling and your running too. You'll hit the ground off onto your bike, and you'll find that you feel great. You're tired. You're not tired, so you go hard. And maybe you don't have a watt meter, so you're not really aware of it. Your heart rate is lagging. It's still showing as low, but you're actually putting out more effort in those first 5, 10, 15 minutes than you will for the whole rest of the ride. And it's really not the way it should be. So you'll see a similar thing happening in the pool, and you want to avoid that. So as you develop your sense of pacing, you'll realize how easy it really feels the first time to go the same pace if you go all the way through, and how hard it feels to do it for the 6th time, even though the pace is the same. Your perceived exertion kind of stays low, and then it gets really high at the end. And that's typical, and you just have to learn what that feels like so that you don't go out super hard all the time. All right, so you might have started off good and then kind of faded at the end. That might mean that you just tried for too good of an average. If you didn't have the endurance to do that 1,200 yard set, then you might also find yourself fading. So you could try again, just starting a little bit easier, a little bit slower, and see if you can hold that average all the way through to the end. And then over time, you'll be able to lower that average as you get your muscular endurance even better. If your times were kind of all over the place, that's might be a matter of focus. Maybe there was somebody else in the lane with you. Maybe somebody called you on your phone in between, or you just weren't all there. So definitely going to need to focus on a set like this, and you're going to want to know your times as you go through it too. So if you just wait till the end to look at them, it's harder to stay focused and make sure that you're still putting in the effort that you need to continue to hit that pace all the way to the end. So make sure that you're watching those interval times as you go. And then what else? If you had any other issues, I want you to throw those in the comments. If I don't see those live right now, then I will come back and I will comment on them later. So definitely throw in any issues that you had with doing this set that I don't already cover, and I will definitely come back and comment on those, all right? Okay, so if you didn't do the set, which is probably the vast majority of you, I want to talk a little bit about what could kind of ease you into it if you decided that this was something that you wanted to try maybe this week or down the road. So first of all, you're going to want to try something that maybe seems a little less scary. So you could start with hundreds, for example. If you can do 6 100s on 20 seconds rest, that's half of that set. And maybe you don't want to try to do them really hard. Maybe you just want to try to be really consistent at kind of a more moderate effort. That's totally fine. You're still learning how to use your watch to capture the splits, how to look to see if you were, really consistent with your times, and those are all great skills. And as you develop those skills and you kind of break out of what I call the survival mindset of swimming, you'll be able to push those hundreds a little harder. You might be able to get up to doing 10 of them hard, and then maybe you're ready to take on 5 200s and then 6 200s. So a lot of the swimmers that I meet who have kind of started late in life and they didn't learn how to suffer in the pool, this is like me trying to run. I don't know how to suffer when I run. For them, they spent so much time just trying to survive the swim, trying to figure out how to just have the endurance for this, that you kind of get into this mode where you think, well, swimming should be easy. I shouldn't be tired. I want to get out and feel good. When the fact of the matter is, that's going to always leave you with slow swimming. Over time, you need to grow to where you can really push yourself in the pool. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to push yourself harder in the open water, maybe not as hard as you would in the pool. I understand that. When you're in race day, you don't necessarily want to swim all out, even on a sprint, because it might not be that comfortable. But if you have done that work in the pool, you have this incredible amount of fitness that you didn't have before. So even if you feel like you're swimming moderate out there in your race, the fact is that moderate is actually faster than anything you could have done before because you're just more fit. And so learning how to suffer in the pool by doing these really hard sets where you can put your feet on the bottom at any time and just stop if you feel like something is coming over you. There's no sharks, there's no weird weeds or anything. Like, it's a totally controlled environment. That's a great place to really learn how to suffer. And so I encourage you to find a set that you feel like you can do that with. Maybe it's hundreds, maybe it's even 50s. Can you suffer for 10 minutes? Maybe 200s are too long. Can you suffer through 8 50s on 10 seconds rest or 15 seconds rest, as hard as you can go, sticking to that rest interval, which means they're not really sprints, but they're harder than you might normally swim, especially a bunch of them in a row, and see how you can pace those. So the other thing is, as you are doing, whether it's a short set or a long set, you're going to want to pay attention to what starts to fall apart toward the end. Does your cadence slow down? That's what happens to me. Does your cadence speed up? And then you just feel like you're flailing and there's just water going everywhere, but there's no power left in it. Do your legs start to sink? Is there something about your technique that you can hold together when you're feeling good, but when you start to tire, it's just not good? Like maybe your arm is dropping as you're taking a breath, for example. Those are things that you're really going to want to key in on. And you're going to use your willpower to, as you're doing these sets, try to keep those together. And then when you're out at your race, those are the things that are going to be on your mind from about the halfway point toward the end, to make sure that you are really staying strong with your technique. You're really staying grounded in what you know is your best swimming so that you can finish strong. All of this is about finishing strong. Learning how to finish strong, even when it hurts, even when it's really hard, even when you're breathing really hard at the end of every interval and you think there's no way I can do another one of those. And then you do. That's the great part about it. So if you can break out of survival mode this week, if that's something that's been holding you back, I definitely want to hear from you. Give me a shout out here on YouTube, or send me an email, and I would love to hear about the success that you're having in your swimming. All right, I'm going to be back here probably Friday, and then definitely again next Wednesday. So thank you so much for watching on the replay. Thanks for joining me live, and I look forward to talking with you again. And I would love to hear your questions and comments. Friday I'm going to deal with a question that I get all the time on technique that I think you guys will find interesting, and I would love to get more of those. So I want to talk about stuff that you want to talk about. All right, you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys later.